All right, to this, a suggestion via a channel member. Apparently, Joy Reid and Piers Morgan got together. It's definitely going to be a very interesting conversation. So let's go and see where this video takes us. You guys told me to start at around 27 minutes. Let's do it.
Be honest, I don't think you were fired after all those years because of your skin color or because you're a black woman. I think you were fired because your show just got increasingly unpopular. It happens all the time in TV. That's why you got let go. Why play the race card?
First of all, I love the fact that your play the race card is your version of the race card. You literally are so fixated on trying to racialize conversations with me, Piers, that I find it actually quite charming.
You racialize more conversations in your tenure at MSNBC than any host in history.
All right, Mark. All right, Piers. And the bottom line is you take an entire conversation that I had with Mark Lamont Hill and pick the bits that you can racialize because this is your shtick. And I get that this is your shtick.
You racialized everything, Joy. Come on.
I get it.
She does. That's basically all that she is. Virtue signaling, and not just racializing things, also kind of focusing heavily on gender and, you know, who you decide to basically sleep in bed with, that type of thing, guys. That is her focus. Her focus exclusively is virtue signaling.
Understand this is your shtick, Piers, and listen, game recognize the game. I get this is your game.
It's not my shtick.
And the bottom line,
it was your shtick.
It is your shtick, and everyone knows that it is. Piers, we understand what it is. And it is so interesting to me that you yourself, as a white European, find that when people of color talk about race, that you believe is racializing conversations. But when people like you fixate on, well, Barack Obama was a black president, why don't you object to that? That is racializing a conversation about the former president of the United States. But you can't put your, and I'm sure you find that charming and funny.
I find it hilarious because you're the one. You're the one who said Donald Trump.
You and your friend Donald Trump.
You said Donald Trump is a white fascist.
Are so. He is a well. I agree with Mark
when Obama did the same thing,
last time I checked, is
I'm not allowed to mention his skin color.
I agree with his former chief of staff, who last I checked was not black and said he's fascist, and Mark Milley said he's fascist to the core. Okay. So I happen to agree, and I know this is what it's important to you, with two very white gentlemen about Donald Trump's fascist tendencies. Okay. If that makes you sad and uncomfortable, I can't help you, Piers.
No, yes, it made me sad and uncomfortable. I think it makes you a little bit of a hypocrite, but that's different. Now, President Trump reacted to your departure by saying low-life chairman of Comcast, Brian Roberts, the owner of ratings-challenged NBC and MSNBC, has finally gotten the nerve up to fire one of the least talented people in television, the mentally obnoxious racist Joy Reid, based on her ratings, which were virtually non-existent, should have been canned long ago, along with everyone else who works there.
You guys, like, be fully aware that the world is changing, okay? Like, understand this here. Things are, for the most part, fads, and I've noticed that a lot of people, similar to Joy Reid, not specifically her herself, but a lot of people who are like her, mentally at least, they tend to jump on fads because these fads make them, for the most part, feel better, right? But the problem is that, like, the world, well, not the world, the United States of America, for the most part, dictated that they no longer wanted this type of thing. This is why Kamala Harris lost at the rate that she lost at, okay? Like, understand that here. And so a lot of networks, specifically CNN, oddly enough, all right, they're starting to kind of change their tone with how they speak about certain things. Joy Reid, under no circumstance, basically she drank the Kool-Aid, if that makes any sense, using a Jim Jones reference, obviously, right? She drank all of the Kool-Aid in the context of this here and believe wholeheartedly that every single thing that she has, you know, I guess, said was true or moral, and for the most part, realized that many people have no interest in dealing with any of these things. So now she refused to change like the other people that are still working there did, and now look at her situation here. Right? I mean, the network is not going to consistently put out bad opinions, consistently bad takes, specifically, the whole time. All right, they're going to have to get rid of you. I have no idea how it has anything to do with the color of your skin. Doesn't make much sense here in the context of this. This is more about your ideology.
What's your response to that? Many of us carry around bulky, worn-out wallets that are uncomfortable and full of junk. Big question is why Ridge wallets can hold 12 cards.
Fascinating to me that your
guys, Ridge wallet, they're okay. They're very, very expensive. You can pretty much get similar quality elsewhere, guys.
That
no
you think
shade,
it's
but
important that I care what Donald Trump says about me. It's a badge of honor. If he dislikes me, then I think I'm doing something right. I have zero respect for Donald Trump, and therefore, if he feels
That's
the same
fine.
way about me, then the feelings are quite mutual, and I'm very, very proud of that and happy with it.
Okay, I want to play a clip. This is you talking about you attacking parents. You spoke out about their concerns about gay and pornography books being placed in school libraries.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a
All Boys
tragic
Aren't
story
Blue.
of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family members. So you have incest. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so
Sure.
I'm going to answer
Please
for you.
do.
In what context is a strap-on acceptable for public school? I mean, that's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No,
Wait,
we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
Guys, just a heads up, I am not sure that you're gonna hear much of that whole conversation. YouTube in this current day and age is not going to deal very well with the majority of what was just said, so we're gonna go ahead and figure that out. But either way, let's continue, guys. Basically, it's about a book, and that book in itself is absolutely disgusting. Let's just say that here. Some of these things in the book can absolutely be true. Let's say here, based off of some of the things that she just said here, forcefully taking people's, students, cookies, let's say. All right. That should not be in school. Okay, let's just be honest here. Teach your kids about, the correct type of touches, let's say. Other than that, why is that book in school? Okay. But either way.
Now, there's also a second clip. This is you talking about Republicans exploiting concerns by minors who identify as transgender. And you say this is an old age tradition which Nazi Germany did. Let's take a look.
In fact, there are more kids who have been exposed to gun violence, estimated at 3 million, than there are transgender Americans of all ages in total.
Okay.
Targeting trans people isn't new. It is an age-old tradition, which Nazi Germany did with brutally violent ends in the 1930s.
Now, the confusing part of all this, Joy, is what you really think about the LGBTQ plus, whatever it now is, community, right? Because as you know, when you started commentating about this, appearing to be a big ally, a lot of stuff emerged which came from posts that you had purportedly put up in a blog between 2007 and 2009.
Let me guess. Her real opinion, right? Not the opinion that she's being paid to basically adhere to. That's basically what it sounds like here. And again, you drank the Kool-Aid, right? Like you drank it so much, right? You became that entity. And the problem is that when Trump got into office, all of these gigantic news corporations had to decide if they were going to consistently push the same line that basically lost the election, meaning that it really isn't as popular as some of the loudest people in the room are making it seem. Okay, that's just what it is here. But all right, and based off of what she just said also, that there are people that are involved in like the trans community specifically that are less than 3 million people in the United States of America. If I was to turn on the news, I would honestly, truthfully suspect it was more like 70-80%. Okay, again, stop listening to the loudest people in the room, guys. All right, you can't do that. And she absolutely was one of these individuals. So yeah, she had to go.
One of which said, most straight people cringe at the sight of two men kissing. Another said, I don't want to watch the two male characters in Brokeback Mountain. You were talking about having sex. Does that make me homophobic? Probably. You referred to the then Florida governor as Miss Charlie and featured the tag gay politicians. Now, you said at the time when all this emerged, I genuinely don't believe I wrote those hateful things because they're completely alien to me. I hired cybersecurity experts to see if somebody manipulated my words on my former blog. Okay. And the reality is they've not been able to prove it. Now you're not at MSNBC. Now you're on your own, doing your own thing, and you don't have to worry about repercussions and stuff. Are you prepared to finally come clean and just admit that was your blog And you did say those things.
She drank the Kool-Aid, guys.
You know, Piers, I might have known that you would use this opportunity and interview and that this was your purpose, right? This is your purpose. And that's fine. This is your show and you can do whatever you like. You know, I could sit here and go on and fight with you about your strange, weird obsession with Meghan Markle, but I won't do that because that would be rude. But what I will say is...
if you want to.
We can do that as well.
Sure.
But the point being that I was very open with my employer at the time about what happened with that old site, which I started writing in, you know, before I even came back into the NBC family.
Right.
And what I have not really talked about publicly, but what I can tell you is that I had a very legitimate reason for being concerned about it because I was also on the radio at that time. And the things that I was literally talking about on the radio were quite the opposite of the things that were in that site. That is the reason that we began investigating what was going on with that site. And there was also someone who I do not know, who I still do not know, who had login access to my site for years that we did not even discover because I hadn't looked at the site for years. I don't know who that is. I don't know why they had access to the site.
Oh, yeah?
But had I not been open about that, I would have been definitely fired or you know, there would have been some repercussions. I was open with my company about that. I've been very open. Everyone who knows me knows about it. And so if you want to argue with me about an old blog site, that's fine. And I'll take responsibility. I just asked you if you did write it. And hold on. And I'm willing to take responsibility for anything that was on that site.
Did you say them?
For you,
did you
but
say
hold
those
on.
things?
Wait. Not to my, listen, what I'm going to say
Joy.
is very simply.
Guys, hold on. We're done with this, bro. Okay. Like, she cannot be surprised that she was let go, bro. Like, just listen to how she's stuck in like a specific echo chamber, and anything that kind of enters into her mind, let's say, from a different type of echo chamber or just anything from outside of it, it immediately makes her flustered here. Now, I have no idea. I can't tell you. I wasn't there. Who wrote this, right? But everything in the world tells me that it was her. And how I know this is because she's Black American. Okay. And what I mean by that specific statement, that may sound crazy, is because, guys, I grew up in like around Black Americans specifically. I can tell you this right now. No. In 2000s? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, you sure you didn't write that? Nothing. I don't believe you. I'm just going to be honest here, because again, growing up, you know, within like Black American like communities and things like that, you start to pretty much immediately realize that none of this was acceptable. None of it. Like, there was nothing that you could say specifically that would make the common typical like average Black American want to hear the point of any of what she is basically for right now. Okay, and that's I think that was the reality specifically of that era that we grew up in, at least, right? And so knowing that specific thing here before the mainstream basically started promoting all these things, right? Yeah, nah, bro. I believe wholeheartedly, just my opinion here, that in fact that was her who wrote that, bro. Sorry. It is what it is. Like, and if you are Black American watching this video, I'm pretty sure you can attest to what the early 2000s and the 90s specifically were in Black households regarding any type of same type of scenarios, guys. All right? Nah. It just wasn't a thing here. You know, we used to basically point out that one day, you know, it was going to come into our community, right? But specifically coming from like you know, specifically Europeans, right? And that was basically what the overall consensus was in the 90s and early 2000s, right? But now, you know, obviously it's different. You know, we've, for the most part, evolved mentally, let's say, to be a little bit more accepting and things like that. But bro, Joy Reid drank the entire pitcher of Kool-Aid. All right, she did. And when she did that, she cannot be surprised that the company who has hired her really doesn't have any interest in allowing her to maintain her station. How could they? Right? She refuses to understand that maybe she went too far onto one side of things without knowing that one side is actually a very small niche minority compared to the 400 million people in the United States of America. Maybe you shouldn't have gone so hard and not been allowed to, you know, come back from. You can't come back from it, if that makes any sense. Now knowing that the that the American citizens have decided that that was not something that they were going to pretty much, take any longer, let's say. Okay. No, nothing against people who live any type of alternative lifestyles. Absolutely. You're an adult, do your thing. I don't care, bro. Truthfully, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me one bit, bro. Right? Just leave the kids alone. Period. Parents have the right, absolutely, to decide what is right for their kids. You do not. Absolutely, you do not. But either way, guys, listen, let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.